just fix our TV for free.
Hey everybody, welcome to Boneyard Labs. Yes, you heard that right. LG did replace my entire panel for my 2-year-old LG 77-inch C-Series 4K TV. And yes, it was outside of warranty. So I did not have a manufacturer's warranty. I did not have a store warranty. I did not have a Geek Squad warranty from Best Buy. I did not have a Costco warranty that they give out. I didn't have nothing, right? So it was outside of warranty. I bought it about 2.5 years ago. But regardless, to my shock and awe, they actually agreed to replace the whole panel. And for those of you who don't know, or if you found this video, you probably know that that is a very expensive part. They tell you it's about $3,000 to replace just the panel, and that's before labor. That's the quote I got, which essentially turned it into a giant paperweight in theory, because I spent, I think, $2,600 on the TV at the time that I bought it 2.5 years ago. So clearly that doesn't make economical sense whatsoever. But I got a tip from the company that diagnosed my problem in the first place. So if you have a dead TV that you either know is a dead panel or you're not sure what the problem is, hopefully this will shed a little bit of insight for you, so that maybe you'll be in some luck too, like I was, and get LG to foot the bill. Without further ado, let's get started on what I did. So me and my daughter, how it all happened, how it all went down, how the tragedy struck was when me and my daughter were playing the Switch, the Nintendo Switch. We were playing Just Dance, right? All of a sudden, just whole screen, poof, black, dead. You'd hit the power button, you'd hear a little tiny click coming from what was later to be discovered as the power supply board. And then you'd get the light, the little standby light would go out, and then you'd hear another click, and then the power light would come back on, signifying that it was in standby mode. So it wasn't actually powering itself up all the way. I knew I had to get it diagnosed. I didn't really want to try to learn how to do it. I just didn't have the time or energy to do that myself. So what I did do is I took it off the wall. Since it was out of warranty, I said, you know what, there's a local certified repair station that's not too far away, 15-20 minute drive. So I threw it in my car and I set it carefully in my car. And I drove it there and I said, hey, can you diagnose this? So they diagnosed it and they said that the whole panel's bad. $3,000, take it or leave it, right? So obviously I needed to figure something out. She told me, she goes, you know, you might want to just call LG because there's been instances in the past where they have at least covered parts. And I'm going, okay, I really doubt they're going to cover a $3,000 part. Really doubt it. But what do I got to lose? Give somebody a call, talk to them for a bit. They'd probably say no, but at least I know that I tried, right? So I go, okay, thanks. I'll give them a call. So I give them a call. And here's where the fun starts. Here was my method, and that I just kind of, this is the path that I went down, right? And this is kind of how I handled it, how I handled myself, how I handled the situation, how I talked to them. It was unrelenting politeness is kind of how I talked to them, right? I told them right up front, I said, it is out of warranty. I don't have any warranty of any kind, but here's my symptoms, here's my problems. What can you do for me? Like this lady was telling me that maybe you can cover parts, or maybe I can get like a discount, so it actually makes economical sense to do this repair rather than go out and buy a new one. I mean, because if I could spend 40% of the cost of replacing it, then I would go for that. I would do it. Put me on hold for a little bit, came back and said, okay, well, I see that it's out of warranty and this isn't covered and there's no real loophole that I can do. He didn't really say it like that, but he basically said, sorry, nothing I can do. I could have just left it at that and said, all right, well, darn, SOL, right? But what I ended up doing is I just kind of persisted. I said, okay, I understand that's out of warranty. What I am having difficulty understanding is I bought the TV for about $2,600, okay? And you're telling me the one piece that's wrong. Yeah, granted, it's the biggest piece. It's the largest piece. It's the majority of the TV. But I said the largest piece is $3,000, which is more than retail for a whole TV. It's cheaper to just go buy a whole new TV. And I said, I'm having trouble understanding that. And here's why. The reality is this. I said, the reality is that's the price that you list the panel for, but that's not the price that it costs you to make. So even if the profit margins is only like 80%, right? You're still making a ton of money. And for me, it just didn't sit right with me. It didn't make any logical sense. And of course, he listened to me rant on a little bit, politely, I just talked to him and just kind of told him, just kind of ran him through the thought process, through the thought experiment, why this doesn't make sense. He sends me to the next tier. He goes, okay, well, you're not satisfied with my answer, so let me run this up the chain. So does his little typing, puts it in his system, gives a summary, whatever, and then says somebody will contact you in 24 to 48 hours with a solution. I go, okay, great. Somebody calls me a couple hours later and says, hey, I understand that you're having troubles with your TV. Can you run me through? And I have to go through the whole spiel again, pretty much. And I just didn't really take no for an answer, but I said it in a polite way. I was just like, can you do something for me? Right? Okay, I understand it's out of warranty. I understand this and this and that, everything the last guy said. But is there anything you can do for me? Like, there has to be something that you could do. Maybe a discount on parts, or maybe like comp the labor or something. Like, I was just kind of throwing out random ideas just so we can get the ball rolling and get the juices flowing, get the ideas churning, to maybe have him question his own standards and practices and rules of their company, so that maybe I can just eke my foot in the door somehow, right? The other thing that I mentioned to him, of course, is like, well, I kind of tried to do a little bit of an ego check, right? I tried to give him an ego check a little bit in a nice way, right? And I said, look, I spend $2,600 on a brand new TV. Is it a reasonable expectation to spend that much money only to have it go bad in 2.5 years? Is that the level of quality that you guys aim for when you guys make these TVs? He just kind of was like, well, let's get you up to the next chain, right? The next person in line to help me out. So it goes to tier 3, get a third guy. Same thing. I won't bore you with the story a third time. Same thing, run it up the chain again. And then the interesting thing happened. He says, we'll have to run it to our regional presidential department. And I'm going, wow, that's a fancy department. That sounds really important. And it sounds kind of at this point like he's blowing smoke, right? So I'm like, okay, sure, let's do that. So a couple hours later, I get a text, not even a phone call. I get a text, and it says, hi, I'm such and such, and I'm from the regional presidential department from LG. And the next sentence, like, almost floored me to the ground. They said, we are going to do a one-time approval for covering all parts and all labor. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, I need to take, oh, this is so great. Screenshot, sent it to my wife. And I said, look what they're going to do. And she goes, are you sure that's real? Are you sure you're not getting scammed and this and that? I go, nope, this is legit. Like, this is legit, right? I called straight to LG and like, it's them. I said, great. Yes. When can we do it? What do you need from me? Blah, blah, blah. Let's set this up. And they said, basically, well, we'll get a hold of a local person or a local approved repair station that can come out and repair your TV. Granted, this whole thing took a couple of weeks, like I think probably 4 or 5 weeks before it actually got repaired, because they have to figure out what's wrong on their own with their own technicians and verify that the previous person, what they said is true, before they go swapping parts just willy-nilly. A few weeks later, after they got approval for the panel, lugged it into our living room and just started going to town. They basically swapped all my old components onto the new panel, tried to fire it up. It still didn't work. It still didn't freaking work. Oh, no, so sad. Then they go, okay, well, it must have been a multi-unit failure, or maybe the power panel destroyed the actual display panel or something like that, right? They were theorizing a bunch of things. So they go, we got to go back and get the other boards. So they came back today. They swapped the power panel, still didn't turn on. Then they swapped the main board, then they got static. Then the display came to life, right? And I'm going, oh my gosh, okay, great. But it got stuck in factory mode, right? And they need a special remote to actually get out of factory mode. It's super simple. You just have to have a fancy button that's on their fancy remote to get it out of factory mode and then put it into user mode. So they did that, and then everything's back to normal. Everything's great. And now it's been running, and it actually even looks a little better, because I think I got the newer generation than the previous panel from 2.5 years ago, because the colors look brighter, the brightness looks brighter, it looks more vibrant than before. It just looks better than the last one. So I'm thinking maybe it was just the newer model that they pulled off the line, because they're probably not going to inventory and stock, 10,000 old 3-generation old display panels, right? So I think they just threw me the newest one. And then they threw me the newest power board, and then they threw me the newest main board, and then the display comes with paired the T-Con board in the middle that distributes the power back and forth between the main board and the power board and stuff, right? So I got a whole new TV minus the internal speakers and the Wi-Fi card and the plastic housing that goes on the back of all the boards. So I basically got a brand new TV in essence from LG because I was persistent and nice and logical. I'm assuming these are the reasons why. Maybe they were reviewing our audio recordings of the phone call for the quality control purposes, right? Maybe they were listening in and just kind of said, you know what, I'm just going to give him a repair, you know, and we're going to cover it because he's right. Maybe it's just somebody was like, I don't know, Christmas is coming up and I got to go home and I want to see my family and, you know, approve, you know, who knows? No idea what the factors really were, but I could tell you this is what happened and these were the results and it paid off for me. So that's my story. Hopefully you guys can take something away from it and maybe give them a call if you guys have a busted up TV too. And maybe they'll cover you as well like they did for me. So if you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I will try to answer any comments that you guys leave down there. That's all I got. I'm gonna go watch myself a movie now. See you guys later.